When I was young, people thought success was about being the smartest person in the room. They were wrong. Over the years, I've met people with extraordinary intelligence who never achieved what they were capable of, and I've met ordinary people who built remarkable lives. The difference wasn't IQ, it was habits. Your future isn't determined by one big decision, it's determined by hundreds of small decisions that nobody notices. Every day, you're casting votes for the person you will become. When you choose to learn something instead of wasting an hour, that's a vote. When you save a little money instead of spending everything you earn, that's a vote. When you keep a promise to yourself even when nobody is watching, that's a vote. Most people underestimate how powerful these small votes become over time. They want results immediately. They want success next month and wealth next year. But life doesn't work that way. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that time rewards consistency. Think about compound interest. A tiny amount invested consistently can grow into something enormous. The same thing happens with knowledge. Read a few pages every day, and years later you'll know more than most people. The same thing happens with character. Make honest decisions repeatedly, and eventually people trust you. And trust is one of the most valuable assets you'll ever own. The problem is that compounding feels slow at the beginning. For a long time, it looks like nothing is happening. That's why most people quit. They plant seeds and then dig them up a week later because they don't see a tree. Successful people understand that growth often happens invisibly before it becomes visible. If you're working hard right now and don't see results, that doesn't automatically mean you're failing. Sometimes you're simply in the early stages of compounding. Keep going. One of the biggest mistakes people make is comparing their beginning to someone else's middle. They look at successful people and think they got lucky. What they don't see are the years of preparation, the books they read, the skills they developed, the mistakes they learned from, and the sacrifices they made when nobody was paying attention. Success usually looks sudden from the outside, but from the inside, it's often the result of decades of patient effort. Patience is becoming a rare quality. We live in a world that wants everything instantly, instant entertainment, instant delivery, instant results. But the most valuable things in life still take time. A strong reputation takes time. Financial freedom takes time. Meaningful relationships take time. Mastery takes time. You can't microwave greatness. You have to build it, brick by brick, day by day, year by year. Another lesson I've learned is that the people around you matter more than you think. You will gradually become like the people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who constantly complain, you'll start complaining. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses. But if you're around people who are disciplined, optimistic, and focused, those qualities begin to influence you as well. Choose your environment carefully. The right environment makes good decisions easier, while the wrong environment makes good decisions harder. And remember this, you don't need hundreds of great opportunities. You only need a few. Many people spend their lives chasing every opportunity they see. They jump from one business idea to another, from one trend to the next, always searching for shortcuts and quick success. But real progress often comes from focusing on what matters and ignoring what doesn't. The ability to say no is one of the most important skills you can develop. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something important. Protect your time, protect your attention, and protect your energy. These are your most valuable resources. Money lost can be earned again, but time lost cannot. Finally, understand this: your life is not a race against other people. It's a race against your own potential. The goal isn't to be better than everyone else. The goal is to become better than the person you were yesterday. Small improvements repeated consistently create extraordinary results. You don't need a dramatic transformation overnight. You need steady progress, one good habit, one good decision, and one productive day at a time. Years from now, you'll be amazed by how far those small steps can take you. Success isn't built in a single moment. It's built in the quiet choices you make every day. And those choices, repeated long enough, can completely change your future. Now, let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every successful person you admire has made mistakes, and many of them have made more mistakes than the average person ever will. The difference is that they didn't allow those mistakes to define them. They learned from them. When I made poor investments, I could have spent years blaming the market, blaming other people, or blaming bad luck. But that wouldn't have made me better. The only useful question after a mistake is, what can this teach me? That's how growth happens, not through perfection but through correction. Most people are afraid of looking foolish. They avoid taking action because they fear failure. But think about it, if you never fail, you're probably not challenging yourself enough. You're probably staying inside your comfort zone, and nothing extraordinary grows there. The comfort zone feels safe, but it can become a trap. Because while you're protecting yourself from failure, you're also protecting yourself from opportunity. The greatest opportunities often come disguised as uncertainty. You don't always know how things will turn out, but you do know that standing still won't get you where you want to go. That's why courage matters, not because fearless people win, but because courageous people act even when fear is present. Fear is normal. Everyone feels it. The difference is that successful people don't let fear make their decisions. They move forward anyway. Another thing I've noticed is that many people spend too much time trying to impress others. They buy things they don't need, chase status they don't enjoy, and make decisions based on what other people might think. That's a dangerous way to live because no matter how much approval you get, it will never be enough. There will always be someone richer, someone smarter, and someone more successful. If your happiness depends on winning that competition, you'll never reach the finish line. Real success is simpler. It's being able to live life on your own terms. It's waking up excited about what you're doing. It's having people in your life who genuinely care about you. It's having enough freedom to make choices based on your values rather than your fears. Money can help create freedom, but money alone cannot create happiness. I've met wealthy people who were miserable, and I've met people with far less money who were deeply fulfilled. The difference wasn't their bank account, it was how they lived. Never confuse the price of something with its value. Some of the most valuable things in life cost nothing: your integrity, your reputation, your health, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Protect those things because once they're damaged, they can be very difficult to rebuild. Let's talk about discipline. People often ask me for secrets. They want a shortcut, a hidden formula, or some magical strategy. But the truth is usually less exciting. Success often comes from doing simple things consistently for a very long time. Reading when others aren't reading. Learning when others aren't learning. Saving when others are spending. Working when others are procrastinating. These actions don't look impressive in a single day, but years later the results become impossible to ignore. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. That's all it is. The challenge is that the rewards don't arrive immediately. You exercise today, but you don't become healthy tomorrow. You save money today, but you don't become wealthy next week. You learn a skill today, but you don't become an expert overnight. There's always a delay between effort and reward, and that delay is where most people quit. They stop because they can't see progress. They stop because results aren't arriving fast enough. But persistence is powerful. If you keep showing up while others give up, you automatically place yourself in a smaller and smaller group. Eventually, opportunities start finding you. People trust you more. Your skills improve. Your confidence grows. Not because of luck, but because consistency compounds. Remember this: the future is built by what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. Anyone can work hard for a day. Anyone can stay motivated for a week. But the people who change their lives are the ones who stay committed long after the excitement disappears. And here's one final thought: don't spend your life waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment rarely arrives. Conditions are never perfect. There will always be uncertainty, risks, and reasons to wait. But life rewards action. Start before you feel ready. Start before everything is figured out. Start while you're still learning. Because momentum is created by movement, not by thinking, not by planning endlessly, and not by wishing, but by doing. Years from now, the actions you take today may seem small, but they could become the foundation of everything you eventually achieve. So keep learning, keep improving, keep moving forward, and trust that the small decisions you make today are quietly building the future you'll live tomorrow. There is a lesson that took me many years to fully understand. Your greatest investment will never be a stock, a business, or a piece of real estate. Your greatest investment is yourself. Nobody can take away what you've learned. Nobody can steal your skills. Nobody can confiscate your experience. Markets can crash, economies can change, and entire industries can disappear. But if you continue improving yourself, you always carry your most valuable asset with you. That's why I encourage people to become lifelong learners. The world changes constantly, and the people who continue learning continue growing, while the people who stop learning slowly become outdated. Knowledge creates options, and options create freedom. Every book you read, every skill you develop, and every lesson you learn adds another tool to your toolbox. You may not need that tool today, but one day you'll be grateful it's there. Another thing I've learned is that success becomes dangerous when it creates arrogance. The moment you believe you know everything is the moment you stop growing. Stay curious. Ask questions. Listen more than you speak. There is wisdom everywhere if you're willing to look for it. Some of the best lessons I've ever learned didn't come from experts. They came from ordinary people making extraordinary decisions. Humility is a competitive advantage because humble people keep learning while arrogant people stop. And over time, the learners always catch up. Let's talk about luck. People often ask me how much of success comes from hard work and how much comes from luck. The answer is both. Luck matters. Where you're born matters. The opportunities available to you matter. The people you meet matter. Pretending otherwise isn't realistic. But here's what many people misunderstand. You cannot control luck, but you can control preparation. And preparation allows you to take advantage of opportunities when they appear. Imagine opportunity knocking on your door. If you're prepared, you open the door and step through. If you're unprepared, the opportunity may pass by unnoticed. That's why preparation is so important. You don't prepare after the opportunity arrives, you prepare before it arrives. The best time to build skills is before you need them. The best time to build savings is before a crisis. The best time to build relationships is before you need help. Preparation turns uncertainty into possibility. Another important lesson is this: don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Everyone has bad days. Everyone experiences disappointment. Everyone feels discouraged sometimes. But emotions are visitors, they come and go. A bad day doesn't mean you have a bad life. A setback doesn't mean your future is ruined. A failure doesn't mean you're a failure. Give yourself time. Think clearly. Make decisions based on principles, not panic. Many people destroy years of progress because they react emotionally in a difficult moment. Patience protects you from many costly mistakes. And speaking of patience, remember that life is not linear. Progress doesn't happen in a straight line. Sometimes you'll work hard and see little reward. Sometimes you'll experience setbacks that seem unfair. Sometimes you'll wonder whether your efforts matter. Keep going anyway. The biggest rewards often arrive after the longest periods of uncertainty. Most people quit too early to discover what was waiting on the other side. Success is often much closer than it appears, but it only becomes visible to those who continue moving forward. I also want you to think carefully about the people you admire, not because of their money or fame, but because of their character. At the end of your life, people won't remember how expensive your car was, the size of your house, or the brands you owned. They'll remember how you treated people. They'll remember whether they trusted you. They'll remember whether your presence made their lives better. Character takes years to build and only moments to destroy. Guard it carefully. Every decision you make is shaping your reputation, little by little and day by day. The beautiful thing is that you don't need to be perfect. You simply need to keep moving in the right direction. Small improvements are powerful. Tiny positive choices compound just like money compounds. One extra page read each day, one additional effort made, one unnecessary expense avoided, and one act of kindness offered may seem insignificant in the moment. But over the years, they create a life that looks completely different. And finally, remember this: the goal of life isn't simply to accumulate wealth. The goal is to build a life that you're proud to live, a life filled with purpose, growth, and meaningful relationships. A life where you can look in the mirror and respect the person staring back at you. Because in the end, true success isn't measured by what you own, it's measured by who you become. And who you become is determined by the choices you make every single day. Choose wisely. Stay patient. Keep learning. Keep improving. And never underestimate what consistent effort can accomplish over a lifetime. As you move through life, you'll discover something surprising. Most people are not defeated by one massive failure. They are defeated by small daily habits, tiny distractions, little excuses, and minor compromises repeated day after day and year after year until they eventually wake up wondering where all their time went. That's why success is rarely about doing one extraordinary thing. More often, it's about avoiding thousands of ordinary mistakes. Think about a ship crossing an ocean. If the captain changes course by just 1 degree, the difference seems insignificant at first. But after thousands of miles, that tiny adjustment leads to a completely different destination. Life works the same way. Small decisions create big outcomes. The person you become 10 years from now is largely determined by what you repeatedly do today, not what you plan to do, not what you hope to do, but what you actually do. This is why responsibility is so important. The moment you take responsibility for your future, your life begins to change. It's easy to blame circumstances, the economy, or bad luck. And sometimes those things genuinely make life harder. But blaming them doesn't improve your situation. Responsibility does. Responsibility asks, "This is where I am today. What can I do next?" That question is powerful because it shifts your attention away from excuses and toward action. And action is where progress lives. I've also learned that confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe confidence comes before action. They think they need to feel confident before they start. But that's not how it works. Confidence usually comes after action. You become confident by doing difficult things, by keeping promises to yourself, and by proving to yourself that you can handle challenges. Every time you face something difficult and continue moving forward, your confidence grows. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And strength is built through experience. Another trap people fall into is chasing perfection. Perfection sounds noble, but often it's just fear wearing a disguise. People wait for the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, and the perfect conditions. Meanwhile, years pass. The truth is that progress beats perfection. A good decision made today is often better than a perfect decision made next year. The world belongs to people who take action, not to those who wait forever. You will make mistakes, everyone does. But mistakes can be corrected. Opportunities lost through inaction are often gone forever. That's why movement matters. Even small movement. A small step today is more valuable than a perfect plan that never gets used. Let's discuss something even more important than success: peace of mind. Many people spend their entire lives chasing things they believe will make them happy. Then they finally achieve those things and discover they're still unhappy. Why? Because happiness cannot be postponed forever. You can't spend decades sacrificing everything important and expect fulfillment to magically appear at the finish line. Success and happiness should grow together. Appreciate where you are while working toward where you want to be. Enjoy the journey. Celebrate progress. Be grateful for what you already have. Gratitude changes how you see the world. Instead of focusing only on what's missing, you begin noticing what's already present. And often, the things we take for granted are the very things we would miss the most if they disappeared. Your health, your family, your friends, your opportunities, your ability to learn, your ability to choose. These are incredible gifts. Never become so focused on the future that you forget to value the present. And here's another lesson worth remembering. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. Money can solve some problems, but it cannot replace genuine human connection. The people who care about you, support you, celebrate your victories, and help you through your struggles are priceless. Invest in those relationships. Be honest. Be dependable. Be kind. Be someone others can trust. Trust is earned slowly and lost quickly. And once people trust you, opportunities appear that money alone cannot buy. As I look back over many decades, one truth stands out above all others: life moves faster than you think. Years become decades, and decades become memories. One day you'll look back and ask yourself whether you spent your time wisely. Not whether you were perfect or whether you never failed, but whether you had the courage to pursue what mattered, whether you continued growing, whether you made a positive difference, and whether you became the person you were capable of becoming. That's the challenge. That's the opportunity. And that's what makes life meaningful. So don't wait. Start now. Learn now. Improve now. Act now. Because the future you're dreaming about is being built by the choices you make today. One decision, one habit, and one day at a time. And if you continue making those choices long enough, you may eventually discover that the life you once dreamed about has quietly become your reality.